As the months have passed, I feel like my line confidence and application of form, volume and rendering have progressed quite well, but something that's been holding me back have definitely been heads. I don't think I've really dedicated nowhere near enough time to probably study them, and I think that it's been holding me back from drawing some of the things that I want to, and so I've decided to dedicate a week or two to focus on them. I found a bunch of really cool free resources and made a plan based on them, with the first one being a 3-hour How to Draw the Head video by Steve Huston. I chose it as my first step because I knew that I needed to start with the basic head construction, and whilst the Loomis method I think it's the most popular one, it makes like no sense to me, so it's not really a good place for me to start. Luckily though, Steve Huston's method makes a lot of sense to me, and it doesn't make me feel overwhelmed, and it doesn't make me feel like studying the head is the absolute last thing that I want to do. And I think it's probably because his is a lot more like gesture based, and the video of his, the 3-hour one, it's actually been a really good introduction to drawing heads, like a really good base to start with. I do want to say that just because Steve's method works for me, and just because it's the one that I understand, it doesn't mean that it's like the best one out there, nor that it will work or make sense for you. And I definitely recommend trying to find something that does, because it is important. I think that like the basic construction of the head is like the fundamental part of learning a head, and so if you don't really understand what's going on with that, then like building on that is going to be a lot harder, I think. In terms of my like study sessions, how I went about like actually like studying or like learning from his video, I would start, for the longest time I've started off with some sort of warm-up, and then specifically for like the learning the head, I've decided to add 2 pages of drawing circles into that warm-up. So basically I do one page of circles clockwise and then the other page anti-clockwise. I think it's the anti-clockwise ones that I find really hard. Either way, I find one of the 2 versions hard, which based on that I think that doing these 2 pages of circles is actually a really good way of like warming up. Hopefully by doing this pretty much every day, eventually I'll find it a lot easier to do them, and like my circles will get a lot cleaner and more circle-like, because a lot of them don't look like circles, they look more like circular triangles or something. Oh yeah, and once I was done with the warm-up, I would pick up in the video where I'd left it previously, because I didn't do the whole 3 hours all at the same time, all in one go. That would have been a lot. I think I did it over maybe 3 sessions, so like an hour or so every day, and so I just like pick up where I left it previously and just continue on for however long I felt like it, which was roughly an hour. And yeah, I just do my best to understand what was happening in the video, what Steve was saying, how he was going about like applying it. And then the video itself did cover like a bunch of different things. We started with basic shapes and forms, the egg shape, the triangle, circles. He explained how to think about the shape of the head, how the neck connects with the skull, the rough placement of the ear and like facial landmarks, so like the brow, the nose, the chin, where all of those things sort of go. There was then a portion of the video that looked at the work of like masters and studied it, analyzing the way they might have gone about the construction. And then the last part of the video was applying what we'd learnt to a bunch of photos of heads in perspective. This part was divided into 2, with the first half being independent study. So there was like a bunch of 1-minute photos that came up on the screen of heads in perspective, and I would just draw them, do my best to draw what I saw. Some of them were definitely a lot easier than others, some of them were definitely a lot harder than others, but yeah. And then the second half of that was Steve doing it himself, basically just looking at the exact same photos and then talking about how he would go about drawing them himself and drawing them himself. And because I'd done everything up to this point digitally, I thought that I might as well like copy what he was doing in my sketchbook to get that element of traditional in as well. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I have to say. I don't think there's anything that I have to add. I mean, I've definitely got a long way to go. This was literally just like basic construction of the head. We didn't even touch on like how to draw eyes, mouth, nose, stuff like that. I don't think I'll find it that hard to do the mouth and nose. I feel like those aren't that bad. Like I've done some studies of them, and I know the head in general is a lot harder than that, so I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, I share pretty much all the art I do on this channel, so I will also be sharing everything I get up to in terms of learning the head here. I'm thinking that there might very well be like weekly 5-minute or so videos coming out on like what I got up to that week, what I studied and whatnot. lot. So, you know, if that's something that interests you, then maybe consider subscribing so that you can watch along with my journey. Maybe you can get something out of it. If you liked the video, maybe comment something you liked about it, like it, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.